Hi, this is Dr. Lesesne, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of the syllabus for Young Adult Literature, LSSL 5385 for the fall semester. I'm here at my Live Binders account, and that's where you should be too. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the icon for 5385 for the fall semester. When the binder opens, you'll see that there are, of course, the usual tabs. We've talked about this in a previous screencast, but we're going to concentrate today on the syllabus. And one of the reasons that we're doing the syllabus this time is because I've made some changes this semester in both the required reading for the class and in some of the assignments. So I wanted to take just a few minutes to acquaint you with everything that's new in this syllabus. If you've looked at previous syllabi for the course, it would just confuse you. So let's take a look at the new one. I'm not going to take you through the entire syllabus. There's a lot of information in here. Some of it's in here to meet certain requirements. Not all of it, of course, is something that you have to spend some time reading, but let me take you to the key things that you need to know in the syllabus. So probably the first thing is that right here is all the information for contacting me. There's my name. The last name rhymes with insane, Lesesne. My office is in AB4, Academic Building 4, room 423 on the 4th floor. That's my office phone number. If I'm not there, you can leave a message. That's the fax for the office. I can't imagine that you will need it, but here it is anyhow. And then 2 email addresses to get in touch with me. They both go into my Sam Houston account, Dr. L at shsu.edu, and then LIS_, see that there, TSL at SHSU. The best time to reach me by phone is on Tuesday between 8 and 4 when I'm doing office hours. Any other time, if you leave a message, I do get an email that tells me I have a message on my voicemail and I can pick it up, but that's the best time to try to reach me. Date and class, the time meets. As you can see, this doesn't really matter to us. This is an online class. The location of the class, online. Here's the description of the course. It is a course in young adult literature. It's intended for library science majors, although sometimes we get some education students that come over and take the course as well. The idea objectives that you see here are the objectives that I set as an instructor that I think I should be evaluated on at the end of the semester. So when you get that idea link for you to fill out, that's your chance to evaluate me as an instructor. And this is what I think are the essential objectives for the course: that you learn to apply the course material and that you develop specific skills, competencies, and points of view needed by professionals in the field most closely related to the course. So I hope that when you fill out those forms, you'll keep those 2 things in mind and let me know how you think I did. The textbooks for the course, the first thing that you need is the TK20 account, which you should already have. If you've taken a course in 5370, you've activated your TK20 account. If not, you need to do so immediately because you're going to be doing a TK20 assignment for this course. The major textbook is right here, Making the Match, the right book for the right reader at the right time. You can see that I am the author of this book. The book can be purchased new from the university bookstore, from the publisher, which is Stenhouse, or used from Amazon or any other online bookstore. It's available in Kindle edition from Amazon as well. You can also see if former students want to sell their copies via LibSci. You should also be able to share textbooks if you want to. So that's the one required textbook, and then I have a handful of young adult novels that we will all read. Those are right here. We'll all read Sherman Alexie's The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. This is the National Book Award winner from 2007. It is one of the few books that features a Native American as main character. It is the story of a young man who decides that in order to get a good education, he has to leave the reservation, and go to a school where he is the sole Native American student there. We'll also read Laurie Haltz Anderson's Speak, which was a Prince Honor book in 2000. It is about a girl going into high school in the summer between 8th grade and high school. She goes to a party where she is raped and she doesn't know how to tell anybody about what's happened to her. Speak deals with the trauma of this young girl as she's trying to figure out how she can tell someone and how she can get the help she needs. We'll be reading Anne Angel's wonderful biography of Janis Joplin called Rise Up Singing. We're reading it for a couple of reasons. First, it is the winner of the Excellence in Nonfiction Award from YALSA. We're also reading it because Janis Joplin grew up here in Texas, and it's kind of nice to see a local girl does well, at least in the music business, despite her rather short life. We'll be reading Viola Canales' The Tequila Worm, set in South Texas, specifically, in the Rio Grande Valley. Like Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, this is the story of a girl who knows that she needs to get a good education, and one of the ways to do that is to apply for a scholarship to a wonderful boarding school set in Central Texas. And this is the story of her trying to make the transition from the Valley to Central Texas. Robert Cormier's The Chocolate War, one of the oldest books on this list, and probably one of the oldest pieces of young adult literature, 1974, so 40 years. One of the first pieces of young adult literature Cormier wrote for adults. Chocolate War was his first young adult novel. He went on to write many others as well. We'll be reading Margarita Engel's The Surrender Tree. It is a novel in verse set in Cuba. We'll also read Nancy Garden's Annie on My Mind, one of the first books to deal with LGBT kinds of issues. Annie on My Mind was challenged. It still is challenged quite a bit because of the content, and it made its way all the way up to a state Supreme Court where the ruling was to put it back on the shelf for kids to read. John Green's Looking for Alaska was a Prince Award winner. It was also his first novel. Some of you may know Green more for Fault in Our Stars, his latest book, but we're going to take a look at the first one, the one that was critically acclaimed, the one that has all kinds of references to classic literature as well. And I think you'll enjoy reading Looking for Alaska a great deal. We'll be looking at Roby Harris's It's Perfectly Normal. This is a book about growing up, sex, and sexuality. It is often challenged as well. Walter Dean Myers' Monster was the first ever winner of the Prince Award. It broke all kinds of new ground, not the least part because it is a novel that is told via a film script as well as diary entries about a boy who's accused of participating in a store robbery that ended up with a store clerk being murdered. Patrick Ness's The Knife of Never Letting Go is the first in a trilogy of dystopian novels. If you liked The Hunger Games, The Knife of Never Letting Go is certainly going to be right up your alley. I think it's a much better book than The Hunger Games. Not that there's anything wrong with The Hunger Games, but I think The Knife of Never Letting Go does an excellent job of world building, of making you care about the main characters, and I hope you agree with me. We'll read Marjane Satrapi's Persepolis. This is a graphic novel about growing up as a young woman in a society where young women don't have any rights. Andrew Smith's Winger is a relatively recent book. It is a story about a boy at a boarding school. You might see that that's also something that we see in Looking for Alaska. In this case, it's a story about a young man kind of trying to find his way, trying to stop bullies from picking on other people, trying to develop all the skills that he needs as a young man. Scott Westerfeld's Leviathan is certainly a different kind of look at history, if you will. It is steampunk, and I think once you kind of get a sense of what that is, you'll enter fully into the experience. And finally, we'll all read Elizabeth Wine's Codename Verity, a book that will surprise you in turns about incredibly brave people who fought in the war, women especially, who took their lives into their hands and just tried to survive. Those are the required books. Everybody will read the same titles. Then I have a handful of books where you will get some selection. So you can see right here 2 books from any of the Prince lists. And that gives you about 20 years, I think, of Prince Award winners. You may include Prince Honor books here, but they may not be the books on the required list. So you can't read for this assignment Looking for Alaska, Speak, Monster. Those books may not count. You need to read additional books. You're going to read 2 books from the Great Graphic Novels for Teens list from 2011 to 2014. Those may also include honor books. 2 books from the New York Times bestseller list for young adult readers, not children's books, but young adult readers from 2014. So any books from January forward. Then 1 book by Chris Crutcher, 1 book by Scott Westerfeld, 1 book by Amy King, 1 book by Maggie Stiefvater, 1 book by Francesca Leah Block, 1 book by Gordon Corman, 1 book by Tom Engelberger, 1 book by Benjamin Sands, and 1 book by M.T. Anderson. Note that you can read these in e-format, or if you prefer and you can find them, you may also listen to them in audiobook format. That doesn't concern me at all. What concerns me is that you meet the requirements for these books. Probably the best thing to do once you've viewed all the screencasts for this course is to go out and try to begin locating the books that you will need for the class, both the required books here and then also the books where you get some selection. We're going to kind of skim through the syllabus now and get down to what is the nitty-gritty of this course, and that is, of course, the evaluation. You have some assignments for the course. The first is your reading autobiography, and if you come up here to assignments and you click on that link, you're going to see here that I've got a separate little tab for each of the assignments that you have in class, including one for the due dates. So don't let that kind of concern you. You'll be able to get up there and see more information about them in just a little while. Let's come back now to the assignments themselves. There we go. What you get in the syllabus is just kind of a brief overview of what's involved in doing your reading autobiography, as well as how many points the assignment is worth. So the first assignment, and really the first assignment you'll do for class, is the reading autobiography. You're going to tell me about yourself as a reader. And I've got some information under the assignments tab, under the reading autobiography subtab, that will help you do this. You can see that it can be a traditional essay, but you can also do some different kind of forms and formats, including Prezi, timeline, PowerPoints, things like that. Your next assignment is an annotated bibliography, and once again, there's more information up here under the assignments tab for you to look at. It too is worth 50 points. It's important, I think, to look at the point value for each assignment because it tells you basically, in the grand scheme of things, what I'm trying to emphasize in this course. So this particular assignment, as I said, more information about it up here under assignments. Your social networking activity is worth 100 points, and it requires that you participate in a couple different social networking activities. And again, the information for completing this assignment is going to be up here under assignments. One of the things that's new this semester is this assignment right here, your blog, which is worth 100 points. On your blog, you're going to talk about each of the books that you're required to read for the course. That's a total of 30. I've given you a lot more direction up here. Again, under assignments, there's going to be a screencast as well for all the different assignments, so it'll make it clear what it is that you need to do. So 100 points for the blog, and then finally 100 points for your youth literature essay. Once again, detailed information here, although I have certainly spelled out quite a bit of information here as well. This is the final assignment for the class. It is probably the one that will take you the longest to complete. Finally, under evaluation, the question always seems to be, how do I get my A in the course? And the answer for this is pretty simple. Each of those assignments has a point total. The total points available for class is 400. If you want to get an A, you'll get 90% or more of those 400 points. So 360 to 400 points will net you an A in the course. So if you look, you can see that you can lose 40 points over the course of the semester and still end up with an A. So if points are deducted for failure to follow directions or incomplete assignments, you can still keep working and achieve that A. A B is 80% of the 400 points. That's 320 through 359 points. A C is 70%, which is 280 through 319 points. Anything below 280 is an F. One of the things I'll often hear at the end of the semester will be somebody who said, but I got 359 points. I only missed an A by 1 point. Well, no, you've missed an A by 41 points at that particular time in class. So know that this is the cutoff right here, 360, nothing less if you want an A in the course. I have some expectations for the class. I think it's really important to read through these, and I do want to highlight a couple of them for you. I put them here because they are things that I think are incredibly important for you to understand. The first is that this course requires the use of technology, as do all our courses. This is an online class, and it's important that you have access every single day to a computer that allows you to send and receive email messages, to attach documents, to conduct online searches, to do word processing. And it's particularly important that you have access to this computer at home. This is not work that you can be doing while you're on the job or at school. It's something that you really need to have a quiet place to do. This is incredibly busy, a busy class in terms of the work, the reading, and the writing. So it's important that you have access to a good computer. It's also important, I'll say here, that you save your work, that you not just save it to the computer, but you save it to a flash or a thumb drive, that you put it in Dropbox or you have some cloud storage, but that you save your work too, because failure of hardware and software is no reason for an assignment to be turned in late for me. A second expectation is that you are not only a part of the LibSci listserv, but that you check your email from LibSci on a regular basis. I suggest every day. This is where we post out job openings. This is where we post out information about courses, deadlines, Texas practice tests, all kinds of things that are important to you. So it's really, I think, important that you check that email. Remember that most email programs will allow you to import your messages from places like LibSci, to import your Yahoo Mail and your Sam Houston State Mail into a central place so that you can read it all. It is expected in this class that you follow APA style. So if you don't have a style sheet, I certainly would suggest that you either purchase the APA style book or you bookmark those places online, and there are several wonderful ones that show you how to apply APA style to your bibliographies. I expect all assignments to be complete. All assignments have to be complete in order to pass the course. If you do not complete assignments, especially the TK20 assignments, you will fail the class. It is really important for you to do this. Attendance doesn't make any difference here. I have to put in a statement in the syllabus, but because we're an online class, that really does not apply to us. Finally, really important here, submitting assignments. All work needs to be submitted via Blackboard. I do not take hard copies. I do not take faxed copies. I do not take email copies. Everything is due at the assigned time by midnight on the date that's posted. No exceptions to this policy, and no extra credit work is available. Please mark down the due dates, which I will show you in just a few minutes, and make sure that you are prepared to turn in assignments on that date by midnight. It is absolutely essential for you to do that if you want to pass this class. I'm not going to read through the rest of this. This is just basically information that's going to be very helpful to have, and a lovely bibliography that kind of supports the work that I'm doing with you in the course. So there's your syllabus. and it is almost 20 pages long, so it's got lots of other information than what I went through during this screencast. In a future screencast, I'm going to come up to assignments, and I'm going to talk much more about the social networking, about blogging, about the other assignments that you have for the course. And you can see that screencasts will be placed right here under the tab labeled screencasts. It's important for this course that you view all the screencasts in advance. Take notes, make notes, really important, and that you go back when you have questions and look at the screencasts. However, if there's something that is not answered in any of the screencasts, some question that still remains, please email me using one of these two addresses, and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. If you would prefer, you can call and leave a voicemail as well. So that's the syllabus for the course. I hope everything is clear, or at least as clear as it can be right now. We'll be coming back with some more screencasts shortly. Good luck.